Going on? It's me, John D. Villarreal, joined by Paul F. Villarreal by phone. My daughter Janair is in the background. And what a crazy debate. I apologize. I got my Rumble shirt on here. We love it. Let's go, buddy. So I do apologize. I wanted to do some stuff last night. Unfortunately, my daughter was a little bit under the weather, so I had to be a dad and take care of her. We did watch the debate. I did talk to PFV today about it. I put some posts up on X talking about it. I think Janair's going to swoop over here. Come here. That's my daughter. She's got a little, what's going on? Say hi to everybody, Janair. What's going on? Absolutely. So we watched the Trump-Harris debate. We're going to try to keep this a little bit tight here. I don't have any notes. I don't have any prep because I was doing, like I said, I was being a dad last night. And I saw a lot of people. I don't want to call people out. I don't want to do anything, but I saw a lot of people freaking out. Oh my gosh, Trump lost. He missed the layup. He just, it was a fat swinging a curveball right over the plate. And I would have done this and I would have done that. And you know what? If I was in the World Series and I would have done this, and if I was in there instead of Patrick Mahomes, and I really would have done it. And stop. Okay, just chill out. Okay. First of all, Trump is a master of public relations and, the nicknames and all those types of things. I'm not trying to say it was 4D chess and he did everything perfectly. Of course he didn't do everything perfectly. But JDV, it was a trap. Of course it was a trap. You think Trump didn't know it was a trap? I mean, Kamala Harris is one of her best friends. The person who introduced her to her husband is like a super, one of the top people at Disney who owns ABC. Okay, I mean, stop, dude. I mean, almost all the mainstream media is a trap. We know that. Why do you think it was so crucial that Elon bought X? Why do you think it's so crucial that we have, sites like Rumble and stuff like that? Okay, why do you think that collaboration is so important right here? Hello, my friend. I've not heard from you in years. I didn't watch the debate because I can't tolerate Kamala. What's going on, dude? I mean, here's the deal. Look, there's a bunch of things, and I broke this down with PFV, and we'll get his quick reaction, and I'll set it up like this. Here's the deal. Trump finally got her out on the stage. This has been the silent campaign. It's almost like Santa Claus. You hear about Santa Claus. Kids are told about Santa Claus. You never see Santa Claus. That was Kamala Harris. Okay. For a long time. So Trump got her out there. Trump also was able to show how biased that whole situation was. It was like when he did that thing with the reporter at the NAACP thing. Oh my gosh, it was the worst thing ever. And I'm not saying it was the best thing ever, but Trump was able to show what an ambush that was. And it feeds into the narrative that the deck is stacked against Trump. And if the deck is stacked against Trump, the deck is stacked against you. Okay? Do you understand? So people are smart. They get it. The magic doesn't work when you can see it. Okay? And it was just too obvious, too over the top. I think Megyn Kelly's comments were on point. And she did a great reaction afterwards. I give her props for that. Let me see. I give you props for that. Megyn Kelly had great comments. I think she was on point on that. Okay? But the bottom line is Kamala comes off as unlikable for a lot of reasons. Now, I'm not saying personally unlikable. I think she seems funny. She seems like has personality, whatever like that. Like if we were hanging out and just talking or at a party, whatever, it'd be fine. But as a politician, unlikable. I say she's a politician's politician, meaning that most people don't trust politicians. And most politicians don't trust Kamala. I mean, I got to show you this before we get into anything else. I thought this was a joke. I thought this was a farce. You have President Biden putting on a Trump hat. This is real. This is crazy. And even Trump said at the debate, well, let me say it before I say that, show that. Trump even said that Kamala and President Biden don't get along, that President Biden doesn't like her. Okay. Trump was also able to put out policies there that people can fact check. We're in a different age now. It's not all about the debate. We're in an age now where social media is a huge thing. And people constantly today are fact checking stuff. And the people that were crying, oh my gosh, Trump lost. A lot of them are coming back around like, maybe not. the focus groups and the polls of independents are showing that Trump won. Now, I'm not saying that Trump totally, it's won everything, but the immediate call for another debate by Kamala's campaign, which does not want to do anything and push back on no Fox debate, no this, no that, shows you where it's at. They played, the Democrats and Kamala Harris played all of their aces. They played every card they can do. Climate change, abortion, J6, democracy, everything. They were going back to Charlottesville. It was all the greatest hits, and it's not working anymore. Trump weathered all of that, okay? And the thing of it is, he's weathered everything. But now you've got Kamala on tape, and I've seen it. Kamala says this at this time, then Kamala said that. There's video of her out there saying she's straight up against fracking. Okay, and that's one of many. And I've seen all kinds of memes on the internet today. I don't want to get too specific. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on out there. And it's just legion. And Trump immediately went into the spin room, immediately was out there. His surrogates are better. It's the whole thing, everything I've said, the fundamentals are great. When you see Frank Luntz, you see these other people, oh my God, it changes everything. And then Taylor Swift and the cat lady stuff. I mean, Taylor Swift, I don't think that was very well timed, given what was talked about, in last night's debate. Now, I do want to show you this one thing real quick, and I'll bring Paul right in here, and we'll get his comments. And, of course, if you have any comments, you put it out here, and we will talk about it. Okay? Now, let me just do this. Let me share the screen here. It's been a minute since I've done this, so just give me a second here. Okay. Now, and I just saw this. I'm not endorsing anything or anyone like that. I don't know. I don't know anything about a lot of these things. These other things I'm putting up right now. Okay, so let's do this one here. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to turn off the sound, but it is, you do see that we have, I probably could play this. I think I can. Hold on. Let's go this. Let's go. There's pump for sure. Paul's got this. I'm gonna turn off the sound now. That's President Biden. He put the Trump hat on. It's crazy. This is a real deal. They're all loving it. Now let me show you PFV's page. Is that showing up right? Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me stop this. Let me show you PFV's page. Okay, because you've got the front, and this is on Real Clear Politics. This is a real deal. That is a Trump hat player. You've got President Biden the day after the debate rocking a Trump hat. This isn't fake. This isn't AI. This really happened. This is insane. And what's more insane is Trump was able to talk about how the Butler's Pennsylvania situation, the ABC News, we can't have that. We can't have that. They went after that, and that, which I think was weak sauce. Okay, and then by the ABC. Okay, I mean that is a huge deal. Why would they not talk about that? Why would they not let Trump talk about that? Why was that not the first question? Hey, President Trump, how did that feel like? If you're a serious journalist, that is a serious question. You want to talk about democracy? That is a super serious question. That's number one. Number two, Trump was able to pin her down hey, what about 7 months? What about 8 months? What about 9 months? No answer. So now all these things are getting fact checked about Governor Northrop, whatever, the former governor of Virginia, about, Tim Walz's statements, about, paying money for, some pretty crazy stuff, for the kids and stuff like that. I'm not making any allegations. You can look it up for yourself. Okay, but these things are being run down on the internet, and it's not coming out good for Kamala Harris. And Trump was able to put these issues out there. Where are you at on fracking? Where are you at on abortion? Where are you at on some of this funding? Where are you at on the kids? Where are you at on parental rights? Where are you at on fracking? And I don't think it's going to come out really well. And where's Kamala Harris today? Now, she did do the event there with whatever, with September 11th with Trump. But what's the next campaign issue? When is she going to do a live interview? Where's the next debate? Paul, your comments. What do you think?
Yeah, look, I think that I think that she probably, in the minds of a lot of people, won the debate or did well in the debate on points, but I just don't think it moved people right now. I mean, that's not showing up in the instant polls that were done. that people felt like it changed their opinion of things. And so I think that, as you mentioned, the immediate reaction by her campaign to seek a second debate means that they don't feel like they got what they wanted out of the first debate. And in fact, I have somebody that I know on Twitter who has somebody they know that works in the Harris campaign that basically said that was communicated to the person I know, that they didn't feel like they did enough last night. And so that's why they're seeking a second debate. That pretty much tells you, that pretty much tells you everything, I think, right there. And so that's what I think is happening with that. I think that the goal of the media in the next few days is to try to convince people who did not see the debate that Kamala did better than what she actually did, and also that Trump did worse than he actually did. So right now, I don't think it's there for Kamala. I don't think she did enough. And I think it's wise for her campaign to recognize that that's the truth.
Okay. So let me just, not to put you on the spot, but just to kind of work through this a little bit. Why would you say that you think she won the debate?
Because it was a 3-on-1. And so it's like, if you're playing 3-on-1 basketball, the team of three is probably going to score more points than the team of one. So, but I think that might be the situation, but it doesn't matter because Trump did what he needed to do. He had the stronger individual moments, and I think that he got a lot of issues out there. So I'm not even saying I agree with that, but I'm just seeing that reflected in some polls. But the bottom line is it was a missed opportunity for her because she didn't do what she needed to do, which is lay out her agenda, introduce people to her as the new candidate. And everybody knows what Trump is about and what he will do if he governs. She needed to step up last night, and I just don't think that she did that.
So let me put a couple of things out there. And again, I'm not here to say it was a perfect debate and 4D chess, but I think people mistake, like, first of all, the age we're in an internet age now. And listen, without getting into it all, if you know me or check me out and check out my LinkedIn, whatever, I am a straight up political expert, super genius, everything like that. Like, I mean, I've been in politics all my life. I can only deal with so much of it. So I kind of go in and out because I just get a little bit nauseated sometimes. But the point is that we're in a different age now. If you look at Vivek Ramaswamy, Kennedy, Tulsi Gabbard, JD Vance, when I strongly advocated for JD Vance being on my show, to be vice president, and he's proven he's so good. And I've told you, I mean, thank goodness you compare JD Vance to Tim Walz. I mean, they might pull out that debate, right? I mean, because the Democrats. But I think what I'm saying is you're always fighting the last war, if you will. We're in a different age now with Elon, with X and stuff like that. Number one. Number two is the points. Yes, there was 3-on-1s, and there were the subjects that Trump didn't like and all that type of stuff. But again, what Trump was able to do, okay, before I forget, if you ever watch professional wrestling, it's like if you have Hulk Hogan fighting, it could be Iron Sheik, Spike Dudley, whatever like that. Let's say Iron Sheik, okay? And the referee, there's a special guest referee. The referee turns out to be a baddie, if you will, and hits Hulk Hogan with the chair, and Hulk Hogan loses, okay? Yeah, maybe Hulk Hogan doesn't have the title right now or loses the match, or it's a double disqualification or whatever you want to call it, or, it's kind of a tie. That's the better analogy. So I don't think anyone strongly won on that. But the effect, the impact, the entire audience saw that the referee hit Hulk Hogan with the chair. And so, it's like the psychology, and again, not to get too much into wrestling, the psychology of when the bad guys win, is they can never win cleanly. Do you understand? And so when you win with the chair on the back to Hulk Hogan, it's because you're underhanded, you're dastardly, you're really not as strong, whatever like that. You have to cheat to win. Nobody wants to vote for that. Does that make sense? Especially as Trump reminded people, Kamala won, no votes. They pushed Biden out there, who now shows up today with a Trump hat. Okay, there was no votes, so you're punking the voters out, and Trump was able to remind people of this. So, do you want to live in state media and attacks on freedom of speech and moderation? I mean, unrealized capital gains. There was weeks and weeks of people on CNBC and X and other people eviscerating Kamala's policies. And when you walk away from the debate, what are Kamala's policies? It was only the day before the debate, or the morning after. I think it's the day before. I may be getting that wrong. Where they actually put policy up on her webpage. This is insane. And as Paul said, are you going to vote for the person where the economy was good, there was peace, you know what the policies are, you know what it is, or you're going to vote for the person that basically got hot swapped in there with no votes, and there wasn't really then a quick primary or the flash, whatever they were trying to call that, with
Blitz primary.
Yeah, the Blitz primary with very little to no policy positions. And any policy positions that she's taking, she seems to be stealing from Trump. Now she's for the border wall. Now she's for fracking. I mean, you can go on and on and on about this. And it comes down to the fundamentals of this. I don't think the debate moved anything much from that actual performance. I think it put out positions and put out videotape now where people can now go on the internet and compare and contrast. And that's not going well for Kamala Harris today. Let me tell you, I think the impression with the faces and the mugging and the trying to interrupt and all this type of stuff is not good for Kamala. I don't think that comes off really well. And maybe it's an indication why there is has been massive turnover, from what I understand, on Kamala's staff. I think I saw this one stat. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not alleging anything, of like 92% turnover on Kamala's staff. And as Trump said, that Kamala and Biden don't like each other. There's a lot. Now, some of that's normal in politics. There's a lot of these VPs and stuff that they don't like each other. They said that about Bush and Reagan, stuff like that. But I think that this is, again, to a different level potentially. And then the next part of it is Trump is a super campaigner, and it's good. And Eric Bolling, hat tip to him. He said the same thing. It's like, he's a fourth quarter closer, absolutely, on Megyn Kelly's show. We don't know what Kamala's going to do, if anything. And for them immediately calling for a debate. So I still think it's going to be a close election, but I think if it's going to break one way, it's going to break big for Trump. And now you have people that are talking and saying, hey, can you trust Kamala Harris? Hey, what kind of America do we want? You've got people out there like Elon and others that have gone out on the ledge for Trump. And now you look at what's going on in Brazil, you look at what's happened in Canada and in the UK, in France, the Telegram person. There's a lot of people high level, in my opinion. I've heard on the podcast, different things. I've seen different tweets out there that are kind of worried right now, okay? Because this is a different situation. They are arresting founders, okay? They are like, there's attacks on freedom of speech. So we're at a crossroads here in America about what kind of country we want. And again, don't forget, it was 2 months ago in Butler, Pennsylvania, that, President Trump potentially barely survived. I mean, that's craziness. So, we're lucky that Elon's out there. We're lucky that we have someone of Trump's caliber and strength out there. I think it's a conversation out here. And I think that just getting Kamala out there on tape, being able to face that, I think was a win. I think Trump won the debate. I'm not saying it was like a super win, but I think it was a win, and I think that the win will be magnified as the days go on because of compare and contrast. At the end of the day, this isn't about, as one voter said, and I think correctly, from Pennsylvania in a focus group on, I think it was on CNN, we're not electing someone, and I say this all the time. I'm not looking for a Christmas card. We're not electing someone to hang out with or go on a date with or whatever it might be. People's lives are hurting. The economy is really bad, in my opinion. And people want to know, like, hey, like, how are we going to get out of this? Like, how do we stop sending billions of dollars for these foreign wars? How are we going to get unemployment down? How are we going to get employment, up? How are we getting inflation down? People want solutions. That's what they want. They want solutions. And I think also there's as Elon would say, you have to be aspirational. I totally agree with him. I think his discussion with Trump about the Department of Government Waste or whatever that is, the Doge, whatever I can't remember exactly, government efficiency is great. It's a great idea. something that's a moonshot type project for how to reimagine government when you have half of the people at state, federal, local that are basically government employees or suppliers or somehow connected to government. That's not super a healthy economy. And I think in the hat tip to the All In podcast out there, they did a great job at the All In get together, and Elon really kind of laid it out, because Calacanis was like, oh, and Elon's like, no, listen, if you look at East Germany, West Germany, you look at these different, North Korea, South Korea, yes, there'll be a little bit of a disruption to port over the government workers. But when you're in a bad operating system, as Elon was saying, an inefficient operating system, and Elon was saying a lot of things that I've said, right? I'm a law and economics guy, right? Some of this is complicated, some of this is very simple. The function of an economy is how many people are working and how productive they are. If they're in an unproductive, inefficient system, and he's like, think of the DMV at scale, right? That's exactly right. If you put them in an efficient system, then things change. So this is what we need to do. And that's why, and it's same thing with freedom of speech, same thing with individual liberty, same thing with all stuff. People are tired of the hyperpartisanship. People are tired of like this group versus that group. I'm this group, I'm that group. Like, people are sick of all that, dude. And it's like game over on all that. So we need a different situation. So now people have to figure out what's going on. Now, that being said, as I think Trump has rightly shown, it's Trump versus the machine. You've got this Democratic machine, and it could be Weekend at Bernie's. It could be any, they could put anybody up there, and they're going to do the machine, and they're going to do the ground game, and they're and ballots and all, whatever. I'm not alleging anything, whatever, but so we have an election to win here, and it is kind of still a 50-50 country, and they have really, demonized Trump. So there's a lot to do here, and there's a lot of election to go here. So it's a very interesting time. And we'll see what people think. But what do you think about that? And final comments, Paul. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, so I think that just to be clear on what I said about Kamala winning, Trump won a debate on the substance. Again, if Kamala won, or quote unquote, it's because the moderators helped her so much to get little cheap digs and bad questions for Trump. That's all I'm saying on that. Trump, I think, clearly won on the substance.
That's fair. And also they covered her topics.
Yeah. So, right. That's right. And so just something else too. There's some discussion today. The reporters were basically talking to Trump to try to get him to commit to a second debate. He did say he might do a debate. He said there was an agreement to do an NBC debate on September 25th. And he said he would do NBC or Fox. Somebody took that as meaning he's going to do it. No, after he said he would do it, he said we have to look and see if we want to do it. In other words, what he's basically saying is, if I would accept doing it on those networks, but he's not saying that he's actually going to do it. Now, the final thing I want to say is, look, I think Trump's in a good position after all of this. Again, it's going to take a couple of days where people are going to be kind of, working to create the narrative looking back that they want about the debate.
Sure.
I still think he's in a good spot. And we only have a few other possible inflection points, I think, coming up in this election. There's been some speculation about Biden stepping down early. I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't think it helps her if it does. And so the only other two things I see right now are, of course, the Taylor Swift thing. And, there's a report that a bunch of people went to the voter registration site after that. Well, we'll see. I mean, I'll be waiting to see if there's actual bunch of uptick in voter registrations on that. And now the second thing that we've talked about this off the air is a potential of the January 6th mini trial, they're calling it, which is essentially Judge Chutkan in D.C. trying to determine what is and is not official and unofficial acts by President Trump around the J6 circumstance of this, the indictments that can or cannot be prosecuted. So the thinking about that is that Jack Smith, the special counsel, is going to submit a brief near the end of September, and he might actually call witnesses after that. And the main witness appears to be Mike Pence. I don't think that's going to do a lot, but basically what I'm saying is there's not a whole bunch of things left here that are going to turn this race. And I don't think things were turned enough last night. Again, Team Harris seems to agree with that. Right now, I'd much rather be Trump than Harris.
Right. I mean, I mean, yes, some early voting I think has started or is about to start or whatnot. I think in about to start in Pennsylvania, maybe it started some other places.
Yeah,
not quite sure.
I think the ballots go out on the 16th.
Okay, but we have just under 2 months to go until Election Day. There's a lot of campaigning to go here, and what's Kamala going to campaign on? She's already spent like I saw. I don't know if this is accurate or not. I think I saw something like $500 million. And I said this before. In my opinion, they're running a consultants campaign over there. First of all, I've heard there's like, Team Harris and then Team Obama over there. And it's a little bit of a mishmash and not everybody's getting along and whatnot. And again, this goes back to, there's a lot of leaking going on over there. This goes back to, Kamala with the staff issues potentially. But what I'm saying, what I mean by a consultants campaign is this. And again, I'm not alleging anything, but I'm just saying like hypothetically, consultants get paid. There's different ways consultants get paid. And a significant portion of it, particularly at the presidential level, in my opinion, at least, again, not alleging anything, is on percentage of money spent. So if I have $100 million, if I do a $100 million TV ad buy, I might get 10% of that. That's a massive money, which you can see why people like want to get in those positions and maybe keep other people out and stuff like that. Like you can get super rich, win, lose, or draw. And there's names of people from other campaigns that got really rich and they lost. I'm not going to name those names. I don't want to make it in it, but I mean, like, again, I've been a political consultant. Okay. So it's like, dude, if you're in a situation like that, think about this. They did the hot swap. Here is sitting $150 million that can go to Harris, which it did, or it may not be able to go to someone else. And so now you've got that $150 million. That alone is massive money. And they've raised so much more as soon as they did the hot swap. If you spent $500 million, so now you can see what Paul would keep talking to me, they're spending, and I'm not saying, like they're spending money here and spending money. I see these, they're spending money in stupid states. Yeah, player, because if you're a consultant, maybe, I'm not alleging anything, you want to raise as much money. I saw another thing where they're spending a lot of money on raising more money. Of course, you get that wheel cranking. You raise as much money and you spend it as fast as possible because it makes it potentially could make the consultants rich. Again, I'm talking hypothetically, not alleging anything specific. That's a consultant's campaign. There's people that go into campaigns knowing they're going to lose. But they one of the first when I thought about running for Congress, okay, out in California, literally one of the first questions, if not the first question that was asked of me, or the first questions were, how much money you got and who's your consultant? I mean, come on, dude. I mean, I already had name ID. It doesn't, I'm not going to get into but I mean, listen, that's what I'm talking about. So like, I appreciate pollsters and I appreciate different people. We all have our different areas of expertise. I know politics. I'm not saying I know as much as like, James Carville or something like that. I'm not saying I've run presidential campaigns like Karl Rove, but of almost anyone that's here on the internet, believe me, I know way more than most people and stuff like that. And it doesn't matter. So the point is where are we? My point to all that is she's already spent buckets of money. And she just did this big debate and people come out and what does she stand for? So I just don't think she's going to be able to close the show. Do I think it's going to be close? Yeah. Are they going to try to pull something else out of that? Who knows? But I think that we're seeing a level of desperation now, Paul, on the Democratic side and the media side that you haven't seen for a while. And it should be there because she shouldn't even be the candidate. Biden got the votes. The whole thing is just ridiculous and comical. And yet here we are. And that kind of, if you look at the pandemic forward, it kind of is apropos because the whole thing is at a crazy point. And the question, and as we see the moves, worldwide, is are we going to get back to sanity or not? And they can demonize Trump and all they want. We had peace and we had a good economy and people remembering that and people really hurting right now and they don't care about the personality stuff. They want policy that's going to help them. That's what I think. So I think that it's close, but I think that Kamala was behind, because if you're tied in the popular vote, you're behind on the electoral college, if you're a Democrat. And I would much rather be we have a lot of campaign to go. There's a lot of work to do. It wasn't a perfect debate for Trump, but I would much rather be the Trump campaign today than the Kamala Harris campaign. Do you agree with that, Paul?
I do. And look, the bottom line for me is what you said, which is there is a panic, a quiet panic, but definitely a real panic settling in, I think, for the Democrats and for the media that wants to help the Democrats. And again, just coming back to what I said earlier, that is the reason why they were asking Trump repeatedly today, are you going to do another debate? The feeling is that what needed to be done did not get done by Kamala Harris last night.
There you go. Hey, I can see the stats here. We've had a nice audience, one of our biggest audience here that have hung with us pretty much the whole time. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. That's why I went a little bit longer here. We did about a half hour. That is Paul. I am John. I appreciate you being here. We'll come back. We'll do more. We're going to do more. Just been a little busy right now. And there's a lot of interesting things that are coming up, non-political, a lot of things I'm working on, business stuff that we're going to start rolling out that content. It's going to be great. We want to help people live their best lives, all that type of stuff. We'll talk about that later. But the headline for the last nine and the headline for this situation is, I think it's advantage Trump. And I think right now the campaign's advantage Trump, but we're going to see what happens. So appreciate you. I will see you later. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.